Well, let's take you back to one of our main stories this Monday morning. South Africa currently hosting a two-day media summit alongside this week's G20 meetings. The gathering is aimed at bringing together people in the media to give everyone access to information and to support strong journalism. SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo joining us once again from Melrose Arch. And Khayelihle, we just heard from the Digitals and Communications Minister in Malatsi speaking about the rise of generative AI and how in many ways that's feeding into the many challenges that are faced by journalists.
Well, absolutely. And a very pivotal moment here in Johannesburg, but also the minister really talking about the proliferation of the disinformation, but also a very clear statement that you do need a very independent media to tell those stories as transparently as possible. But also, most importantly, we know that South Africa is going to host that G20 Leaders Summit. A lot of issues really just coming to the fore, from climate change to so many other issues as well, especially those issues that are affecting the countries in the global south. And in fact, the minister joins us now. Minister Malatsi, thank you so much indeed, sir, for your time. So during your address, you spoke about the challenges that you face. I mean, we saw here in South Africa during the elections in 2024, the challenges around the artificial intelligence, but also there are some positives that we can harness around here.
Absolutely. I think, the core thing is to strike the right balance between leveraging the advantages that technological tools and advances like artificial intelligence can do in making sure that news, accurate information for that matter, reaches broader audiences. There is an underlying risk, and I think the world over we are grappling with that debate of, restricting the manipulation of restrictive AI to produce deep fakes videos that basically perpetuate misinformation. Any democracy and even thriving economies need an independent, free press in order to thrive. And the advances that digital media and broadcasting is made means that there are new threats that previously did not exist. Therefore, in the infrastructure and the ecosystem, we need to be able to build those board rails that will be able to limit, if not eliminate, the risks that come with manipulation of generative AI.
Minister, one of the critical issues that you've really just heard about has to do with the media's funding model, the media viability, but also focusing on challenges, the safety of the journalist, really at the forefront. We know with South Africa, G20, quite a very important moment for a number of countries in the global south. But coming back to the point about the funding model, we know, Minister, for the longest time, the SABC bill, others, they talk about the prolonged delays. Can you just take us into your confidence? How far are we with the process in terms of expediting that?
No, absolutely. And it's a very important question, because where we are right now, we've made a major step towards the appointment of a service provider to develop a funding model for the SABC. You'll remember that a large part of my motivation to want to withdraw the bill was on the fact that version of the bill, as it was, spoke about developing a funding model in 3 years, and that is kicking down the can for an issue that needs to be resolved now. So we advertised the advert calling for proposals for the funding model in June, and last week the bid evaluation committee in the department was looking at the applicants who made proposals in order to make a decision about appointment. That will then help into a strengthening of the version of the SABC bill, so that we do the two at the same time rather than separately, which would still leave the fundamental issue, because the fundamental issue that the bill ought to resolve and answer is the financial and business viability of the public broadcaster in a space of media evolution, in a space of enhanced competition.
And obviously, Minister, are you going to meet up with your portfolio committee chair anytime soon regarding this critical issue?
Look, I've never been the one to have any issues whenever the portfolio committee needs to engage with me. They can also tell you that I've never missed an invitation from the committee, and I'll forever be willing to engage with the portfolio committee on any matter, whether it's the SABC bill, whether it's about connectivity or the post office. The reality is that ministers have to account to Parliament and to the public, and the reality is also that ministers have to make decisions on policy because that is the responsibility of ministers.
And just before I release you, Minister, you've made an undertaking that out of this M20 declaration, you'll take it to the leaders to understand about these issues, protection of the media freedom, the freedom of expression, among other things.
It's absolutely a fundamental ingredient of democracies to thrive or functional economies, and it is important that, as I said in the auditorium, that we elevate the discussion about the independence of the media, safety of journalists to the highest level and the most powerful levels, and in the G20 space, that is the Leaders Forum. In addition to that, we do have as ministers the working groups that we are leading. There's the Digital Economy Working Group, in which one of our work streams, particularly on the sustainability of the media, will also take this conversation forward. But absolutely, it is one thing that we are going to bring center and forward to the attention of our leaders in the G20, because we need to safeguard the independence of the media so that they can do their work without any fear of intimidation, any threats of violence, so that we can continue to inform the public independently and fairly.
All right. Minister Malatsi, thank you so much, sir, for your time. Of course, I under that South Africa's Minister of Communications and also Digital Technologies. But